Since 2016, the Palisadoes Foundation has been assisting STEM students to become globally competitive in software engineering. Palisadoes does this by providing new avenues to promote STEM education for university students in underserved communities. The foundation uses a series of programs aimed at increased awareness of their abilities in the global marketplace. The foundation was selected as a participant in the 2022 GitHub Externship program run by GitHub India. GitHub India was created in 2020 to support the third largest number of active developers on GitHub that was growing 22% annually at the time. GitHub supports 73 plus million software developers, 4 plus million organizations, 200 plus million software repositories, and is used by 84% of the Fortune 100 companies. The GitHub Externship is a 90-day fellowship program for third or pre-final year students to GitHub India's campus partner schools. The initiative provides hands-on, collaborative, remote learning with practical experience under the guidance of expert mentors. Students get to select from a vast variety of open source projects managed by various organizations. They get paired with a mentor from participating organizations who will handhold them and review their work on a regular basis. This is a recording of the midterm evaluation by our 3 student participants: Patibanda Sriram, working on chat support for the Talawa mobile app; Nishnata Debnath, working on chat support on the API backend; and Sandeep Valpasani, working on improving our CI/CD workflows and automated testing strategies. Let's see what they have done. Okay, please go ahead, Sriram.
Yeah, hi. So this is a midterm evaluation of mine, and I'll just show you how far we are from the goal. So the contents are the progress that we have made until now, and yeah. So the major part is the chart UI and UX. I have specifically designed the screens so that they match the current app's color scheme. I've thought about all the user experience about how a user would feel at home in our app. And I have the second thing that I had done is revamping all the data models that have been previously done. They were like they were not completely done. Direct chats feature is being implemented for the first time now, and I've revamped it according to 2 different use cases. One is the chat list screen, which in which when you open the chat feature of the app, a list of all your chats would be displayed. I've revamped those data models, and the other is the chat message screen. That is this, where you can see all your messages related to that specific chat, and this is the direct messages part. And after making slight modifications to the chat list screen, I've implemented the whole chat message screen from the scratch, where a user can send a message and they would be going to the backend as well. So the next thing is the backend integration, where I have coordinated with Nishnata and have we had decided the schemas. The whole backend part, the coding part, has been done by Nishnata. The integration part with the front end has been done by me, where we are querying all the data from GraphQL APIs, and we are displaying it in our front end app. So yeah. And this will be our next steps towards our completion. That would be as of now improving and implementing the mutations and subscriptions where bug fixes are needed. After we do that, there will be optimization for quicker fetches of the charts as quick as possible, and we'll be moving on to group chats and event chats. Since one specific thing, that is direct chats, it's already implemented by then. The group chats and event chats will be relatively easier with minimal code after implementing the whole direct chats feature. And finally, we'll go on with the testing and documentation of all the few models. Thank you.
All right, so I have some questions.
Yeah, sure.
Can you go back to the previous slide? That would be really helpful.
This one back. Which one? Chat UI UX, is it?
No, the next steps.
The next steps. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Right, so can you explain these points in more detail as to what you think could be done to make the application and the
Yeah.
API better in a little more detail? That would be
Surely.
very useful.
So as of now, we are using queries, GraphQL queries, for fetching the data of all the direct chats, and we will be moving on to the subscriptions, because that is a more viable way when we are using GraphQL. So that will be much more faster than refreshing and polling the app. That explains the first point, and the second point for quicker fetches is, after the GraphQL subscriptions have been implemented on the front end side, uh, as of now, what I am doing is first fetch the records and store it in a list or a map, and then use them. But ideally, as soon as the operations increase, the number of operation increase, that is fetching more number of charts, that would essentially slow down the you know uh, the front end's operation input and output. So will things have to be thought through to make it more faster. That explains the second point. And the third and fourth point are self-explanatory, as you after we develop the direct chats feature. A group is essentially a direct chat with two or more persons. So uh, with slight modifications, the group chats can be implemented. And event chats is a single group for all the people in that specific event. That is, like, everyone would be added to that group automatically. So that would also be done after that is related to group chats. So that would also be implemented. So, and the last and final part would be testing and documentation of chat view models, where the chat view models essentially consist the business logic of the app, and testing that would be essential, because chat is going to be one of the major features of our app. So adding tests to that and documenting the whole work would essentially help the future contributors, whoever are contributing to this app.
Thank you. I was working with Dominic, one of the Palisadoes volunteers, and also Xavier, and they are working on ways in which we can automate the documentation directly from code using JSDoc or FlutterDoc. And so there are issues related to that. So if you can take a look at the Talua Docs repository, there's some issues there that define the problem statement. What they want to do is to use JSDoc and FlutterDoc to generate the documentation as a part of the pull request process, and then have that integrated with the Talua Docs website automatically as a part of GitHub Actions. So if you can just...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So if you can take a look at that, I think that would be useful. And so therefore, in terms of your documentation, focus on making the documentation compatible with .doc / or JSDoc, so that you don't have to do this all from scratch from the very beginning. Okay, I think that would be very useful for you guys. Now,
yeah, that would be very great.
Right, so the next question that I have for you is, and I think this would be useful for people who may be listening to what we're recording, is what differences are there in the architecture between one-on-one chat and group chats? What are the technical challenges that you think need to be overcome to get that done?
So basically, in a layman's term, generally a chat is considered as a channel, where a direct chat is a channel that includes that involves two people. That is a single chat, and you are talking with one single person directly. Whereas a group chat is a channel with multiple people in it. So after you develop a direct chat, the major difference would be adding one or two people, and categorization of messages. like as of now, you just categorize the messages left and right. That is, one would be yours and the other one would be, the person you're chatting with. But once the group chat comes into play, you will just categorize them. Your messages would be on your side, and on the other side there should be, along with there should be all the messages of the other people in the group as well. It's not one single person. So that would be one of the major things in group chat. Yeah.
Okay. And then one of the requirements that we had was to make sure that chats were encrypted. How are you guys working on that, or is that something that?
So
that will be taken by me.
Oh,
okay, Nishnata
Okay.
would be taking that.
All right, because I'm going to ask the question again. What are the challenges with one-to-one chat and group chats when you start taking into consideration encryption? So that's really good to hear. All right, well, thanks a lot. This has been really good. I'm looking forward to hearing what Nishnata has to add. Nishnata, let's see what you have. I'm really looking forward to seeing this. Thank you very much, Suraj.
I hope you can see my screen.
Not yet.
Okay.
It's coming.
No?
I hear the tone.
Now it's right.
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah. So the slideshow. So this is my GitHub Externship mid reviews. So, oh shit. Sorry, I was using another keyboard. So what's the work done till now? It's the end-to-end description part which I have done, and I have helped Sriram with the select contact pages, which will create new direct chats between two users, and also I have helped with the models. And for the backend part, I have done the mutations and queries and made some major changes to the mutations and queries, which had a logical fail in our system, because I will discuss it later. So in the next one, so there was many types of encryptions which we'd like to have used. So first of all, I thought of SHA encryptions and normal encryptions, but then the mentors like Rutvik and Ritvik suggested that don't go for that type of encryptions because it's easily decrypted in the server. So we'll be going with RS encryption. Now what's basically an RS encryption is it's end-to-end encryption without the involvement of the server. So how did I do it? So basically, I used I used the RSA node module, in which I made two keys, like the public and the private keys, which are generated on the sign up of the user or on the sign up of the user. Next, there is a video. So this shows the demo, in which I made changes to the mutations such that if I am sending a message, so it will be encrypted in the server. As you can see in the message content, it's encrypted. Okay, and it will be sent to the MongoDB database. And we'll be fetching this only, but when we'll be showing it in the front end, we'll be decrypting it and showing it in the front end. So that's the thing. As you can see, these message contents are now stored in an encrypted way. So yeah. So for the backend mutations, some of the backend mutations, queries and mutations were bugged, which Sandeep helped me to solve it out. And then I made a filter. Now the problem was that in our previous when I received the previous version of the project, it was like that all the direct messages were fetched at the same time, and all the chats, the message chats in that direct message was also fetched in a same call. So I had to filter it out, and I made two mutations regarding the chat ID. One in which the direct chats are fetched on basis of chat ID, which will be helpful if we if in the Talova app, when we log in, we'll be getting the ID and we'll just pass on the ID, and it will be less data fetching and the time will be saved. And I also created a query to fetch messages based on a chat ID. So it will be a more optimized way to fetch the chat. Instead of doing it in the front end, we are doing it on back end part. And we also, there was a feature in which the direct chats, there was duplications of the direct chats. Like if me and Sriram are making a direct chat, then we can make another direct chats with the same users. So I deduplicated it, and there was and all the changes are already merged with the core base except the deduplications one. We are still thinking of there is something which is bothering me that I will tell after the thing. So, and for the front end part, I collaborated with Sriram to create the models for the chat user and the fetch APIs. And for the I also made the select contact pages to fetch all the users of the organization, and on tapping it creates a direct chat between the two users, so that it's helpful for us to create a direct chat and add data directly to the main database. That's it. That's it from now. For now, I didn't add what I'm doing now. I forgot to add that page, but now I am working on the subscription parts because the subscriptions are not working, and it's very necessary to get it working on the server soon. So Sandeep might be helping me now. So I am open for questions. And regarding the encryption, can I know the question which you were talking about? I will tell you.
Yes. So I know that based on this architecture that you have, people are creating their public and private keys upon joining the organization or using the app, and so therefore they can use public and private key exchange mechanisms so that they can do the one-to-one chat. When you now have group chats, does that mean that everybody has to swap everybody's keys with one another, and that creates a real difficulty? Or are the public and private keys only stored, are keys stored on the server themselves? How does this work? What are the challenges related to that?
There is this was my first concern when I got to know about RSA. What's about group chat? So this is the problem with RSA. So in group chats, we can't use when we used to encrypt a chat, we use the public key of another user. So the problem is which public key to use. There are many users, so we can't use like that. So what WhatsApp does, I read the documentation of the WhatsApp. Rutvik sent me that. So what WhatsApp does, it's basically uses a thing in which all the messages are encrypted. All the messages are encrypted by RSA. So it creates an illusion. It directly sends message to everyone and creates an illusion as if we are in a group. But it's not actually a group. You are directly sending message to a person. So that's the illusion WhatsApp creates, such that we think that it's in the group, but it's not in a group. We are not in a group. We are just sending it from one chat to another chat directly. So we are not using that architecture. So currently in our system, we can't implement the RSA encryption in group chats, but we can definitely implement it in the direct chats.
Okay. So that means when somebody with WhatsApp sends a message to the group, and the group has 10 people, they are actually sending 10 individual messages to each of those people in the group.
Yeah. And it creates an illusion as if you are in a group.
I see.
That's the thing.
Do you think I know that's what WhatsApp does. They feel that there's a scalable solution. Do you think that is something that we should emulate for the Tallow mobile app?
If we want to emulate that, then we have to change the whole model architecture of the chat. Like we have to reframe it. Like it won't be a single channel based chat, and then there is something else which I would like you to know. Currently, we are saving the RSA key, like the public and the private key, on the server. But WhatsApp doesn't do that, because they are much more in advance. So they create a time-based RSA mechanism in which there is a certain period. That's why sometimes your data gets lost in WhatsApp. It stores, you can't fetch the data back, and you have to restore. That's why it stores again. It backups your chat every day. That's the thing. But what we can we are storing the encryption keys also in the server, but that's not right. But in our system, what we can't do, if someone deletes WhatsApp, Okay. What if someone deletes our chat app? Then the public key and the private key will be deleted forever. That's why for current use we are storing it in the server, but later on we would have to find the better way out.
Okay. So what that means is that as a part of the ideas for the project, we need to put those two concerns that you mentioned
I will
as a part of the ideas that other people can start working on it. What we want at this moment is to get a proof of concept working that people can modify to make it work properly the way that you're talking about. So that's good to know. All right, so please send that to me.
I will send the doc. I will also send the doc of the how WhatsApp works. You can attach it if possible. I will send you the link.
Right, and a small summary of all the concerns that you've mentioned here, and also the concerns that you've mentioned to me previously, in a single, maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs that we can add to the ideas list. I'm glad that we're seeing progress here, but I want to make sure that we capture your concerns so that others can start thinking about it in the next calendar year. All right. So thank you very much, Nishnata. Let's see what Sandeep has to say.
So this is my project report. We share status, right? Yeah. So I'm Sandeep, and my mentor is Sumitra Saksha. And these are my initial goals, which I mentioned in the proposal. So the first goal was to add the unit testing to the backend, and also to make sure that the code coverage works with the help of the code curve. And one more thing is to improve the overall architecture of the API. So while working with the application, while working with the code, I figured out that there were some things which needed to be fixed. So what I did is I redefined the goals so that I've done some modification, and then these are the these are the redefined goals which I've done. So the first thing is to fix the existing integration test in the backend. So as I see in that, there are many tests failing in the API, the backend code. So I fixed every test in the backend, and now every integration test is working correctly. And then there were some missing integration tests, and then I've added it. Now also they are working perfectly. And then there was, while I was testing the code, there were some mutations and queries which were not they had some bugs in the code. So I fixed them too, and, so that they can respond to the integration test correctly. So later, while working with the code coverage, there was a need of refactoring the folder, the folder structure in the API. So that was also accomplished in the this case. And also there were some CI/CD workflows which were failing, so I fixed it also. And also to integrate the unit testing of backend. Yeah, I've started working on it, and by this, in coming 30 days, I can cover the overall subscript, the mutations and queries. And the goals, as I said, the goals that I've accomplished, the fixing the integration test.
Okay, so hang on, please wait a moment. So for people who may not understand what the code coverage is, we have an integration with our GitHub Actions where we test all our code before it goes into the repository, and we get a status report which shows us what percentage of our code base is fully tested. And we want to make sure that this is automated for all the pull requests changes that go into all 3 of the Talva repositories. And Sandeep is working on this code coverage aspect as a part of his GitHub Externship work. And so the CI/CD is the continuous integration, continuous development workflow, where we do these sorts of automated testing and evaluation of our code base in terms of linting and some other features so that we have consistency across the code base when multiple developers are working on our code. All right, thank you. Please go to the next page and then we can continue.
Yeah, so these are the goals that I accomplished in this phase. So existing integration tests have been added, like fixed and missing integration tests have been added, and then these things have fixed, right? And then the pending work which is need to be accomplished. So we need to display the code coverage correctly using code cover, and then also to integrate the unit testing as I said in the previous slide, and also to improve the overall architecture of the API. I did not touch this part because if we start working on this, we need to also change the tests again. So which doesn't make sense to me. So that's the reason I did not start touch that issue. And these are the result of changes which I have done. So exactly the testing does. So testing is we have integration test and also the unit test. Integration test make sure that all the mutations, queries, and all the subscriptions of the GraphQL APIs are working correctly or not. And then the unit test. I mean, when we receive a new PR or else when we work on the PRs, it will automatically start testing using the GitHub action, and then we will get the status report whether the integration tests are working correctly or not. And then when it comes to the unit testing, it makes sure that the internal code is working correctly or not. So that's the main reason we need to work on the unit testing, because to make sure that our code is stable and also bug free. And then the changes which I've done, bug fixing. So these changes help us in achieving the stable and efficient Talava API server. So that's what. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, so thank you very much. Now I have some questions. We've been talking about the CI/CD integration, where we are trying to make sure that our repositories are properly tested. And you mentioned that the integration testing is working correctly, but we're still seeing some failures in the CI/CD when pull requests are done. Have you figured out why that is? Because we need to have that integrated as quickly as we can.
Yeah, so I will be raising new PR in coming 1 or 2 days, where there will be we need to test actually the GitHub action of the main repository. So there will be some logging inside the testing itself, so that we can understand how exactly the tests are failing, why exactly the tests are failing in the GitHub action, and then based on the logging, we will try to update it again, so that then exactly it will work same as how it works in the local system. Similarly, It will work in the GitHub action.